Here's a list of the most annoying things in the world. Chewing loudly, The Big Bang Theory, and getting stopped at the airport. Of course, some reasons for getting stopped is worse than others. Like racism. But the most petty and annoying is when you get stopped for bringing liquid onto a plane. We mean, what kind of a murder could a person commit with a tiny bottle of face toner or pumpkin spice latte? And before you call us basic for bringing stuff like this to the airport, let us tell you that thousands of passengers every day are equally confused as us about this hostility towards liquids in airports. But none of them find out why. Wonder why that is? Well, you're about to get to know the answer to this age-old question in the latest episode of Big Factz. Make sure you subscribe to our channel and hit the notifications button below. So we have already established that we have all been in dire situations where we were asked to get rid of our precious, innocent liquids at the airport. It never stops being annoying, literally, no matter if they stop you for bringing a bottle of water, a sulfur solution, or acid, or even Kylie's skincare kit. It always annoys people to no end to have to part with their liquids, while being in an airport is already awful. And we've all been in these situations before. Maybe you didn't bring acid to the airport like a normal person, but maybe you brought alcohol. However, we bet that you've never been in one of these following situations. Well, if you have, then contact us for a good therapist number. In 2015, a Chinese woman chugged an entire bottle of cognac she had brought with her to the Beijing airport. Yes, an entire bottle of cognac. If you're unfamiliar with the alcohol, then just know this: drinking cognac burns. And it also gets you very drunk very quickly. Before you yell, "Yes, Queen," to the woman, let us tell you the woman became too drunk to board the plane and had to be taken to the hospital to avoid alcohol poisoning. Which is fair, but couldn't the whole situation been avoided if the authorities had let the woman bring her precious bottle of alcohol on the plane? Okay, so a case can be made against alcohol on board. You can get drunk with it, hit the pilot over the head in your stupor, and send the plane hurtling down towards the ocean. And the most tragic part, insurance would actually have to pay money. But what about the incident that occurred at the Manchester airport in 2018? A little girl was flying to Italy on a relaxing pizza-filled holiday when a couple of security guards told her that they would literally break her spine if she brought her insulin injections onto the plane. Well, they didn't exactly say that, but we presume that is what they meant. But you know what? We also hate needles. They suck, and we wouldn't want some girl to stab others in the neck with it. It would bring down the entire vibe of the airplane. The security was just doing their jobs, and we hate it when people are hated for just doing their jobs. Someone's got to keep running the business of annoying people out of bringing liquids on planes. Saving people, hunting liquids, the family business. But what about when in 2009, a man was stopped at the airport for his bottle of water by the security, but not for his literal weapon, a 13-inch serrated knife? Correct us if we're wrong, but a person could potentially hijack a plane with such a huge knife. But how could a person bring down such a large metal bird with water? Bringing over 100 milliliters of liquid is the number one reason of people getting kicked off of planes. Well, it's number two. Number one is racism. TSA, which is the American Air Traffic Regulation Authority, is the organization responsible for all things wrong in your life. Well, at least the fact that you can't enjoy 3 gallons of your favorite coffee midair. TSA has determined that all liquids on board shall be stored in a 100 milliliter container and packed inside a baggie. Before you curse America for not making sense yet again, remember the most aviation authorities around the world have exactly the same rule. Yeah, so this rule should make some sense. This has consequences that annoys pretty much every passenger. What's really the point of flying if you can't have soups, juices, and your favorite face toner on board? Why don't we all travel by boat where we can enjoy our liquids in peace? Actually, even if you can make do with a measly 100 milliliters worth of your favorite skincare item, which is a travesty, if you put it in a container bigger than 100 milliliters, the airport security will throw it out or force you to drink it, depending on the state from which you're flying. Yeah, it's getting a bit ridiculous, but moreover, this rule is not consistent at all. Some liquids can be carried beyond this limit, such as very useful and important objects we just can't live without as a human race: gel-filled toys and snow globes. Like all strict rules, this one did not originate out of thin air, even if it seems like it. The liquid ban has its roots in terrorist organizations. This regulation was implemented everywhere in 2006 when the British intelligence uncovered a terrorist plot. Basically, a man was carrying Tang, water and batteries. It raised some alarms, and when the police investigated, they found out that the plan was to make a liquid explosive in midair. This event was quite popular and is known around the world as a 2006 transatlantic aircraft plot. Now, even if the British did foil this evil scheme, aviation authorities panicked a little bit and decided to implement extreme security measures around airports everywhere. Other than normal check every pocket that you're carrying security measure, other measures were implemented, like no luggage was allowed, including newspapers or glass cases. Soon after, a liquid restriction on hand luggage was placed after other restrictions had been calmed. Of course, baby food was one of the exceptions, and it had to be tasted by the passengers first. If you think that you're not being able to bring over 100 milliliters worth of liquid is a tragedy, listen to this. For a while, no liquids were allowed. If you wanted to enjoy a boiling hot soup over the Atlantic, you had better hope that the airplane already had one. You couldn't even bring medicine on board. Yep, there was a blanket ban of liquids into a plane. Luckily, the restriction was eased after a while, and up to 100 milliliters of liquid was allowed. The ban, of course, has one more rule. All the small liquids, gels, and aerosol containers have to be put in a clean Ziploc 1-quart sized bag. We know what you're thinking. Are the aviation authorities so lazy that they can't check every single liquid to make sure it's not a threat? It would only take a few, well, actually, a lot of hours. To be honest, it is all very challenging tasks to screen liquids and then determine if they could be a threat. All it would do is make sure that planes never take off on time, which would become another reason why airports are awful. And then we could curse the aviation authorities and make another video about why every plane is never on time. So, to make life easier for passengers and us here at Big Factz, aviation authorities have placed many exceptions to this limit. These include the drugs, prescription ones, life support and life-sustaining liquids, and fish bowls. We were also super confused. The restriction was introduced for many countries, including South Asian countries. Security at airports in India was also tightened following this operation. Of course, the ban is yet another hindrance to holiday and travel enjoyment, so new technologies are constantly being pitched to screen liquids at the airports without causing the mother of all delays. In 2016, Telegraph Travel first reported that using a CT scan, liquids can be inspected and the liquid ban could be lifted. Since X-ray scanners work in pretty much the same way, an investment was made by a British airport of a whopping $50 million in effort to lift this ban. If it works, the scanner would allow security to look into the bags of passengers and assesses whether the liquid had some kind of explosive potential. Getting rid of the restriction and maintaining safety at the same time is actually super challenging. But if the aviation authorities manage to do this, we'll finally be able to drink 2 gallons of soup midair. Our dream. What would you like to do with liquids on planes once the ban is lifted? That sounded wrong. Let's rephrase this. Which liquid would you like to bring on board when this ban is finally lifted? Comment down below and we'll pin the best one. Like this video and share it with all your friends to give them some very useful information. Subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. This was Big Factz. We'll catch you all in the next episode.